Hi guys, it's April, and I want to talk about Aletheia by Tennant. I received a copy of this book from the publishers in exchange for a review. So this is what this is. It's all of my honest words that I have after reading this book. And I will handle this review the same way I handle all of my other reviews, with the non-spoiler section up front and then all of my word dump afterwards, because there are going to be some things. There are probably going to be a lot of things. So Aletheia is the story about a slightly dystopian future in which a virus has taken over and wiped out a lot of society. To combat this virus, a compound has popped up called Iris in the society. In exchange for the cure, you can become basically an indentured servant. Some of these indentured servants are called nameless because they no longer remember who they are and they just have numbers to their identity. One of these nameless is 736, and this story centers a lot around her perspective. Now, the nameless have a bunch of different tasks to keep this community running, but 736 has the task of going out beyond the compound to collect items that will help the compound continue on as it is. Now, 736 deals with a lot of issues that this whole dystopian society entails. Now, 736 starts to learn some things about what this virus is, how it affects people, and how this community is being run. She starts to question the validity of the truth she is being told, and so this is the story of her just starting to question where she is at in society and what everyone else around her is telling her to do. Now, I like this story because it deals with a lot of different characters and how different people would react to this situation. They're not all cookie cutter characters. They're all very unique in different ways. They have relationships that are all over the place. It's a mess, and I think that is what really sold me on this story. There is no such thing as a perfect person in this story. Everyone is just pretty much out of their mind trying to figure out how to survive, and in that survival instinct you can see different kind of personality traits really ramp up, and that, I think, makes this story. I really liked moving along with the story and figuring out what was going on. There were so many questions I had as I was reading through it, and it kept me going. Once I picked it up, I couldn't put this thing down. I really couldn't. Plus, zombies are my kryptonite. If there's anything at all zombie-like in a story, I am creeped out beyond belief. So I was all over the place with this story. I was up, I was down, I didn't want to read words, but I continued reading, clutching different limbs in pain and wondering why I was doing this to myself. And I think that in itself says a lot about what I thought about this story. If you can get me to react that way to the words you have in front of me, then I think you're doing something right. I was invested in this story like none other. There were some times where I was brought out of the story because I could tell that there was some red herrings and some different things that were going to come into play later on in the story. They were really obvious to me for some reason, and that took me out a little bit, but I was right back in the story afterwards, and it didn't bug me too terribly much. So if you like zombie-esque type dystopian, figuring out what is going on kind of stories, I highly recommend this one because there's also cats. I don't know why I forgot to mention cats. Cats play a role in this story in a way that just stole my little heart, as you can tell by the shelves behind me. Cats are my thing. If you find that at all interesting, I say go pick it up, and once you pick it up, come back here and have a discussion with me because I have words. I have words, and I am now going to switch to the word dump of things in my brain. So if you haven't read the book, leave. There may be spoilers. Now, okay, this story. There are several things that I think are possibilities of what shall be happening in the future with the next couple of books. Charles, I think, has a significant part to play, especially in context to some of 736's flashbacks. I think those are interwoven somehow. I highly suspect that they are. And then there were some parts in the story that I was devastated. It broke me in various different ways. When 1633 took his own life, I almost lost it. I couldn't handle that at all. I don't know why I formed such an attachment to him, but he was just one of those characters that I did, and the way the scene played out is just no. Now, I have to admit that I was more devastated by him than I was of Rose. Didn't really connect as much to Rose. I was sad that she passed, but I kind of saw it coming in some of the aspects. It's always that one innocent character. You know you're gonna lose them. You always are. I should have seen that with 1633, but I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. But I think the scene that got me the most was probably the mama dog, which is clear at the beginning, but when that started going down, I'm like, I know this book is gonna tear me apart, and I hate it for it, but at the same time, I really, really like it for it. If you want to make me completely lose it, there's probably gonna be an animal involved in some tragic form. That is usually what just messes me up. It really does. It's usually where the tears start coming in. Now, one thing I had been wondering is, for this cure, for this disease, couldn't Maddox and his people, couldn't they use the blood of the Nameless to figure out a cure? Is that science possible? I don't know why I keep on thinking that you can make a vaccine from a vaccinated person, but is that possible, or am I just losing my mind? I might be totally losing my mind. That is the thing. I think that's the one thing that kind of I kept on running through my brain. I'm like, why are you trying to barter for a cure when you could possibly just distill and scienceify someone's blood who is already immune to the whole virus, right? I don't know. I'm really interested to see where this story goes in the future. I want the sequel now. I didn't think I was going to be as invested in the story as I was, because honestly, I said yes to this book because of the title, because one of my first cats was named Aletheia, and I figured it was a sign because I'm a weirdo like that. But I am glad that I picked up this book. If you have read this book and have made it this far in this video, tell me down below your thoughts on this thing. I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.